guest today is Mr. Henry Agyei Asare, and he's the founder and CEO of Tentmakers Ghana, an incubator that has co-working space and provides support for startups. He's worked vastly in the banking industry and has worked in a lot of leadership roles. And so he would help us today to understand more how to be prepared for a new employment. Henry, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So with the topic we are discussing today, are there any particular key takeaways you want the audience to go home with?
Well, I think there are three things we need to consider. And you mentioned that as the time that you need to join an organization, when you are with the organization, and maybe if you want to exit. Every organization that you want to join, the first thing that you have to understand is that even though they want to check your experience, they always want to look at your CV. CVs necessarily don't do the work, but they help people to identify you. And so I think the first thing you need to do is to make sure that you are fleshing out your CV very well. And I've seen a lot of people write wrong CVs. The second thing is how we even behave when we join this at the first instance. How do we integrate ourselves into the organization? And then how do we grow in that organization? So I think these are the three key areas that I'm sure the conversation would have to follow. When we look at CV, I've always said that when you're writing exams, the first thing you write are the right thing that you think are the best for you to give out. And if you still want to continue, maybe you write explanation. If you want to write a CV for an organization, you don't write the CV as if you are looking for career advancement or you are looking for academic advancement. If you write a CV for career, put your career first before your academics comes. If you write a CV that has an academic first, it is just supposed to be a CV that you're using for academic advancement. And I've seen a lot of people, they just write the same CV, the same thing that they're sending for to be a master's, the same CV they're sending for employment is wrong. Always make sure that your CV is fashioned out to the first thing that comes, shows what you're sending the CV to. So write for career, write your career profile before you show us what your educational background has been. So that's the first thing I want to note. Now, when you join an organization, I've always said that an organization is like a vehicle. You don't go and join Accra car going to Tamale if you're going to go. You join a whole car. Make sure you understand where the vehicle is going. So you need to know the mission, the vision of the organization, and make sure you understand the seat you are sitting on. So where are you going to sit in that organization? In that chair, do you understand what goes on in that chair? I've seen a lot of people come for interviews and don't even know the goals of the organization. They don't know the mission of the organization. So assuming from behind, you thought that it's an organization that is going to help you grow, and that organization's priority is to possibly get somebody who can come and drive the organization. You notice that your direction and what the organization needs is conflict, right? So what you need to know before you even accept for an interview is to make sure you understand the mission, the vision, the values of the organization, so that you know whether it is a bus you want to board. Otherwise, you board the wrong bus. Now, when you join the organization too, you need to know the culture of the organization. Sometimes when you're behind, you may never understand how the organization works. But when you join it, understand what culture the organization strive on, is able to move on, then you'll be able to know whether you can fit, how you need to fashion your lifestyle to suit that culture. A lot of people move into different countries and their behavior changes because that country has a different way of life. So every organization has a culture, whether it is told, written or not. Every organization has it. So when you join, and that is why most organizations have this orientation period. So you will know what we do here. It is not necessarily to put you in a box, but it helps you to know what has been done so far. So it helps you to know if you need to bring a change, how to model your change. So I think these are critical things that we need to know if we want to move from environment.
This is really, really important. And I think you answered our very first question, which was about have a job interview coming and how you should prepare for it. Because I think you mentioned that before you even accept the job interview, ensure that your goals and the goals of the company align and you understand what they are about. So in the case of a new employment too, I think you have still made mention, but are there any further additions you want to make? If you have a job interview or starting a new job, are there any further additions you want to make?
Sitting in interviews, I have noticed a lot of people come just because they want temporary things.
Okay.
Let me just put this across. In every employment, there are two things that you get. There is one that is salary or your remuneration that they will pay you. And when it comes to salary, somebody has control over that. Somebody has to determine whether you need to take this much. And then around at one point when I was working, there was certain money that I needed to receive that must be recommended by my boss. Now, my boss can go sleep and wake up the following day and say, well, I don't want to give you that again. We had a name we gave to it that was mentioned, but it was just for you to give respect to whoever was supervising you. So that person is supposed to recommend that to you.
Okay.
Even when it comes to the main salaries, we've seen a lot of people work for several months and say that it's like haven't paid. So it means someone has control of that. But the most critical thing that we get when we go to work is experience.
Okay.
Nobody can take experience from you. Even if your boss doesn't like you, whatever you gather there, nobody can take it away from you. Now, the first thing you need to know, and I've always said that people say always think outside the box. You can never think outside the box when you know what is inside the box.
Okay.
So make sure that you know what pertains in the organization, so that if you want to change anything, you can make a recommendation. And always know that if you recommend, it's just like a bus. If the bus is going to a certain direction, you think it's not fit for you, you don't board it. If you board it, you notice that where it's going won't help you. Please alight. And make sure your lights, well, don't bend any bridges behind you. I've always said that if you are in an organization that doesn't bring the best out of you, just resign. Don't be there because they give you money. Because when they give you money, you don't get any experience. The next time somebody will pick you, put you somewhere, and you mess up. Alright? So these two things, the critical thing I always tell people is that make sure that you are gathering enough experience. Alright? So if you're a newbie, if you're somebody who is entering a company for the first time, what you need to do is to first of all check the role that you've been given to. Who are you going to work with? What is the objective? Most organizations have departmental objective. What is the objective of the organization and of that department? So that you will know whether you have that strength. If you don't have that strength, who has it? How do you acquire it? Before you can say that I'm fit for this job. Otherwise, some people stay in an institution for so long and then they don't get promoted, they get. In fact, even when they don't come to job, nobody cares because they don't add any value to the organization. So you have to make sure that first you understand the mission of the department and that you are prepared yourself, you are fit for it, such that when you are not there, you'll be missed.
Okay.
And that's very important.
It's really important. So then it's not just about money, but experience also counts. So let's go to the second thing I want us to address. Is it important to set goals for your new job? And how do you go about it?
Well, again, like I mentioned, you cannot set goals when you don't even know the organizational goals. The organization you want to join already had an agenda. It was already set in motion. If it didn't have an agenda and they ask you to set, that's fine. But if it had, then it means that you need to follow through that. Maybe you need to make sure that you can work faster or be efficient or effective in delivering whatever it is that you want to deliver. So I think your personal goals must be in tandem with the organizational goals and the departmental goals, so that you don't go sideways, don't go off what the organization wants to go. So if you want to set goals, it must be what the organization wants you to do.
So do what the organization wants you to do, and I think that would help you grow as well.
Yes.
So can you speak to handling unforeseen circumstances at the workplace? So like maybe you joined a new team, but the the teammates have a very laissez-faire attitude towards work, or you are privy to stealing at the office or ethical issues and all of those things. As a new person who is looking forward to gain experience and learn new things, how do you handle some of these unforeseen circumstances?
If you know the culture of the organization, it helps you. It helps you to know that there's a whistleblower. I've worked with some organizations that the head himself doesn't care whether people are doing the wrong thing or not. So that's why I said that if you know the culture, it helps you. It helps you to know whether I want to fit into this system or not. If you are privy to something, check whether it is something you can work with. Now, you must first of all know what goes on there, who does what. All right. If it's something that you think it's contrary to your own faith, does not believe, it's better you drop off. All right. That's why I said if you check the system, if there's something that you can blow it and it will help, be careful how you blow it, because sometimes people, if you don't know, you see, how you say something is very important. That is why sometimes you want to tell your daddy something and you tell your mom to tell your daddy, right?
Yeah.
Because you know that your mommy will have the right words and attitude for. So always make sure that you have people that you can help and people that you can go to for advice. So for instance, you see people taking or stealing from the organization. You can approach, if there are people who are your colleagues, you can approach and ask them why they do that. You shouldn't be, many times you like to be judgmental. Alright. Sometimes you need to understand why people do what they do, and it will help you to help them. Possibly people have been doing it, has been something that's been continuing, and if you don't take care, you will think that you're going to report to somebody who may be the bigger thief, right? So make sure that when you're doing something, you understand what the culture is there. So understand who you are talking to. Don't go being judgmental. Ask why people do what you're doing. When you understand, you will know where to go. Because I feel that every organization has a peculiar culture, and the way you address situation in one organization is the same as you address in another organization. If there's a whistleblower system there where you can go to a second person or higher up person to maybe inform the person what's happening, then you have to take up and do that, because you want to maybe bring some change. Bringing change in somebody's vehicle is difficult, and you have to understand, you have to make sure that you have enough capacity to do that.
The last words you said brought back a memory. The bringing change in somebody's vehicle is difficult. I remember a driver deciding to dodge traffic, and we told him not to use the roads, and he decided to use them. Ended up being on the road for like 2 hours. Probably somebody was the car owner inside, maybe they would have agreed to do that. So I think from what you have said, it's very important to act or work with careful understanding and some wisdom, and probably investigate things before we do anything. Okay, so how can I become an invaluable resource to my company and generally a very sought after person? So maybe I'm in company A, but company B and C want to poach me, but because I like company A, I can stay. How can I develop myself to become that kind of person?
So, always make sure that you have in mind that you came there alone.
Okay.
Sometimes we go to organizations that maybe take friends and behave as if they came with us, and that when they sack them, they will sleep at the same place we have to sleep. People have their own means. Make sure that you are working in such a way that when you are not there, people will miss you. And by that, you don't have to look at somebody who is not working. You don't have to say that, why am I the only person who is asked to do this or do that? People come with a lot of capacity, a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, understanding. But because they feel that this place, we can close at 4:30, they just do the same. Now, if you join the crowd and you behave like every other person, you can be missing in the crowd. If you want to stand out, then make sure that your output stands out, your capacity stands out. So for instance, assuming you're working in an office and people close at 5, and then you notice that your boss closes at, let's say, 8, and you know that by 5 when you just take their back, and you decide to close at 9. So when everybody has left, you go and ask your boss, is there anything I can help you with? Can you imagine if you keep on doing this? If your boss is thinking about somebody to help, will the boss help those who close at 5 or you? Now, you could be the person who just came, joined the organization no longer, but because of the way you relate and your attitude towards work, it will make that person be endeared to you than any other person. So, the most critical thing you need to understand is that when you join an organization, make sure that you are going to learn everything from where you are to the top. And experience necessarily doesn't mean that you need to be given the position. Say that you are the manager before you manage things. Make sure that if you are done with what you're supposed to do, help somebody else. Give helping hand to other people. If people don't want to do their job, pick it. I mean, I don't know about your school, but in my school, we used to have people who write notes for other people. Yeah. Now, these are the guys who were brilliant. You know, the more you write, the more you know. Yeah. And we thought that they were writing for us, so we were happy. But they will write, and they will write consistently to the point that they can close their eyes and still write. And when they do that, they learn more than you who just read. Mm-hmm. Right? So, if you keep on helping other people when you need help, you become, everybody will just call you. And that's how you become somebody that is sought after. And when you keep on doing that, even if nobody sees you there, somebody may just pass by you and notice you. And the other thing you have to add is respect. So make sure you are always trying to lend helping hand to people. There are people who don't like that, but it is how you approach people, how you don't make them feel that you know better than they do. Alright. Sometimes you can just go and say, oh, can you help me do this? Even though you know. And as you join, people always want those who help them. Tomorrow when they need help, they'll call you. And if there's a recommendation, they will recommend you. Because they know that you can do it. And they know that you not lord it over them. But you will do it to help them. For you to be somebody who's sought after, take respect. Respect everybody from the top to the bottom. Make sure that you are somebody who can always lend a hand to somebody.
That's very, very important. So we shouldn't look at work as I came alone, I'm doing just my little one and then I'm done. If they even give you any other assigned duties, you get pissed off or something. Yeah. But then to be able to actually become invaluable, some of those things are necessary to build you up.
See, there are people who join organizations as, let's say, cleaners, and they rose to be CEOs. How did they do that? Because nobody would necessarily invite you for a CEO interview when you are a cleaner at the place. But can you imagine if you are a cleaner, and then when people are open, and let's say you're in a bank, you're going to open accounts, and you tell them, can I help you do this? How do you do this? And you learn. And then when people are not, they'll even come and call you and say, come and do the same thing. And then you learn, you improve. Maybe you go back home, you try to study more, and then you are learning new things. You can then apply for a clerical job and give your experience. Even though can you imagine if somebody comes to you and say, I want a job from you, and you as a person, whatever you can say, well, I was a cleaner, but whilst I was a cleaner in the last 2 years, I learned how clerks operate. So how they open accounts, how they interview their customers, how they will write maybe loan report, and so this is A, B, C, the other things I have learned, and this is how it has improved my life. It shows improvement. Yeah. People join organization, and for the next 1 year, 2 years, you ask them, what have they done, improved by themselves? They can't tell you. And that's really disastrous.
So you should always be looking forward to making progress and then becoming a valuable person. Okay, so what are some of the things to look out for and keep in mind as you are charting your career course?
Every human being must have your personal objective. If you want to grow in an organization, make sure you know set your agenda. Tell yourself in the next 5 years, I want to arrive at this place. It requires experience, to acquire knowledge. Make sure you learn. Make sure you have people that you are mentoring. Now, sometimes we talk about mentorship and people feel that, oh, but I can't get too close to the people. You don't need to get close to to follow what they do. We read about people we've never seen. They mentor our lives, but we never see them. Make sure that you have somebody who possibly is going to where you want to get to. At least. And if you have to read about that person, research about that person, how did they get to where they got to? And then you make sure that you are fashioning, so you don't join what everybody else is because they're not going your way. You have a journey. And if you're going to Kumasi and your friend tells you, well, let's go to Tamale, and you think that you don't have enough money to go to Tamale, don't sit in the car. Because when you get to the next town after Kumasi and they ask people to pay, you can't pay.
Yeah.
And your friends who possibly they have their money to get to live Tamale, right? Yes. So make sure that you know where you're going to, and if you know where you're going to, then chart your path by learning from people who are going to that direction.
Chart your path by learning from people who are going to that direction. That's very profound. So we have touched on all of the topical areas for our discussion. That we were able to get a couple of questions from the audience, and we want you to address it briefly, and we can wrap up. So the first one is it important to discover everyone's temperament and personality at a new job to be successful?
Well, I don't think so. I think that is too cumbersome. I mean, how are you going to, if you don't take care, you would end up learning people instead of the job. The organization has a target, it has a direction it's going into. You are on that direction. There are people you're working with. Always have the heart to accommodate, and always ask why people are doing what they're doing. People want to go somewhere, but the way they want to go in your direction. So make sure that when somebody is doing something, you understand what they're doing. If you want to learn how people behave, you may not have to deliberately want to do that. But as time goes, because you are in the same office with them, you need to learn about them and have a heart to learn. Okay, make sure you are learning. I've always said that for you to be able to learn well, make sure that you trust people, but you also have in mind that people are not trustworthy. So you don't get disappointed. So if, for instance, if you trust in your pastor, but you also believe that he's human, he's not trustworthy, your pastor go and sleep with somebody else, you will say, I will stop going to church today. Right? So it's very critical and very important that you have the heart to learn. And by so, when people are doing something, the Bible says that don't be prickly in talking. Make sure that you have observed to understand what people are doing, a lot of people are struggling with their personal needs, they need to discover themselves, and they don't need an accuser. Right? They need people who will help them. And I've seen a lot of people, with a lot of them who were not open people, but when you get close to them, you see that they are struggling. They need help, but outside you will feel that people don't need help. So make sure that you want to learn about people, observe them, ask questions, don't be judgmental, and you get to know how to relate to them.
So observe people, ask questions, and don't be judgmental, and you get to know them. Thank you very much. This one says, I know my job very well, but become timid when I have to express myself, which makes it look like I'm incapable. How do I manage?
Timid. Well, somebody asked me a question, how do you get confident? I said, well, to be confident, you need to first of all know what's the stuff and do it over and over again. Sometimes it is a mindset. For all you know, it is something that you have seen people go through. Confidence comes, you see, it's just like faith. It comes by keeping on, hearing, listening. So watch videos of people who are confident. It will drive those passions. You know, there was a time I went to watch a movie, and this Fast and Furious movie, and I was driving. I noticed that I was driving like that. And most of us do the same thing. You would go watch, those times we wouldn't be playing football. You go watch football and then you come back and you're playing something. You just kick everything because you are not acting what you saw.
Yeah.
So when you keep on watching some of these things, get videos of who are delivering speeches, who are doing presentations, who are young people who are confident and giving words and articulating themselves. By so doing, as you do that, get 2-3 people, family members, present to them, gather your confidence, and as you keep on doing it, it will just come natural. Just in the same way as nobody tells you, when you are talking, the words keep on reflecting, keep on coming because you keep on talking. Right, so in the same way, confidence comes only when you keep on doing what you have to do all over again. So keep on doing it. Watch people who are confident doing something like that, and then it will come by itself naturally.
Keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. This one says, how do I prove my worth when my supervisor or boss's work attitude negatively impacts my work output?
You have to first, for you to, the problem is the mindset. Your boss's action is negatively influencing you. So it means you yourself, you have a challenge you need to deal with. You can never win an external victory if you have not won an internal victory. You can only see there are people who are so, I don't know what to use for them, but they are so friendly that when they get to a place that is down, they just light that place up. Sometimes we focus too much on the wrong thing. And by that focus, we reflect those things. Everything you focus on, you reflect it. So if you are, that's why I said that if you want to be confident, make sure you're watching more who are confident. Everything you focus on, you reflect it. So people have been abused by watching things they don't really want. Your boss is doing something you think is negatively influencing you. It's because you're watching it, you're making time to watch those things. Make time. Do what you're supposed to do. Your boss possibly may need help. Go to your boss in a way that you are helping, not in a way that you are trying to judge your boss. Sometimes we want to prove that we know. And like I mentioned, even if you are right and you go to your daddy and say, "Daddy, what you did is wrong, don't do that again." You know that because it is you. People, we don't understand when we say that it's important where it's coming from. But your mommy can say that your daddy will take it. But you say that, and let's say an elderly person can say that your daddy will take it, but you can say that your daddy will take it. The same words, different people, different results. Right? So it is a way you deal with your boss. How are you engaging your boss? How are you letting your boss know that you are into support? You are not into damage. So if he is doing something you think is not right, make suggestions to him. And don't expect him to take it. I say this to people in my office, that I didn't sleep on your pillow with you. You slept on your pillow. I did my pillow. My pillow will not be giving me enough dreams. You have a lot of dreams. When you come to tell me about it, it's just like election. Win me over. And by winning me over, you have to make sure that if you try one way, it didn't work, try another way. Don't give up. You see, if you have a target and your objective is what is driving you, anything that is side where you don't pay attention to that. So you want your boss to go a certain way. Go it softly, try and convince him he doesn't accept it. Sometimes you maybe start by winning him over by just buying some few gifts. Just win the person. Just the personality over to you. And when you talk, the person will understand. Can you imagine you meet somebody in town, somebody that you don't know, you say, look at your hair. It's massive, Papa. You will just be angry. But if you're a loud person, somebody you respect so much says it, even if the person didn't say it right, you will think about how to make it right. You get it? So I think you need to win people over if you want to get to them. Know what must come first. If I want to talk to you, I need to be able to win you over. And to be able to win you, I need to know how do I get your attention. And to get your attention is not to say what I want to tell you. It's I have to prepare you to listen to me. I don't have to always think of telling you without preparing you to listen to me. I have to prepare you to listen to me. And a lot of us make that mistake by they should listen to me. How do you think about preparing them to listen to you? If I don't prepare them to listen to you, you may say it and you say, "Oh, okay," and you go and I will not even have heard anything that you said. So prepare people win them over, and when you tell them something, they will listen to you?
That's like very, very deep. Because for me, I usually wonder why people don't listen to me, but I think we actually start looking at it from this way. Trying to win the person over and prepare them to listen to you. Because everybody has their own issues, right?
Certainly. And listening is one of the things that we are not taught. See, when it comes to communication, there are a lot of things that we are taught in school. Writing, reading, talking, even talking, we talk hard. Listening is one of the communicating acts. Nobody teaches us this. So we always listen to respond. So I listen to you and I prepare my response in my head. Okay, so I don't think about it. I'm just thinking about how do I defend myself. When we begin to listen, and then we just not listen to respond, but listen to understand, and it helps us to. Alright. So at the other side, if you're a boss, you have to always make sure that you are listening to understand. And if I listen to understand, then I would empathize with you. I would assume if I'm the one asking the question, how would I expect you to listen? But if I'm asking you questions, then I have to make sure that you are actually prepared to listen. If I'm not preparing you to listen, then I will just be saying those things and I will always get angry because you wouldn't have taken it I've said to you.
So we have mentioned, I think the next question says, should new people make suggestions for the business growth and how often? I think you have touched a bit on that in the previous answer. This one says, as a student, how do I gather work experience?
Okay, that's a very interesting and fine question. And I've had a lot of problems with students when it comes to work. So somebody comes to for an internship and they want the big organization. They want a place where every system is set up. So they are just coming to follow a certain system. No learnings, nothing. And it's because the objective is not to get experience, but to get money. Alright. So people basically don't want to be gathered what will give them that strength to progress. They want something that will help them today, just today. Alright. And so you get students, and I've said that there are 4 levels that you have to go to perfection. Education is only at the 2nd level. Alright. Where I call, and it's quite general, where I call that you are just conscious incompetent. Alright. So you see people who are let's say lecturers and people who have gone to a lot of school, advanced in studies, they would do a lot more research, they would always tell us the problem that we are facing, but most of them don't tell us the solution. And even if they tell us, they expect somebody else to go and do it. So all you are doing is that you are conscious of incompetence. It's just a 2nd stage. It doesn't give any progress. Alright? If you are a student and you want to advance, make sure that you are first of all, you have to know what you want to be. If you want to be a banker, even if when you start from level 100, even if you have to go to a bank and clean, just clean, and know how the setup is, it's okay for you. Alright, so make sure that you are joining a place that will bring work out of you. And it is so sad that in our system we don't have people do that. Make sure you volunteer more. When you hear volunteer, just run to the place. Because it teaches you more. It teaches you, it helps you to know that I am trying to build some experience, not get money. In our part of the world, people don't like to volunteer because everybody wants something that I'll get. People want, okay, how much are they paying me? Yet I don't even know what I'm supposed to go and do. Alright. So it's very critical, very important that you always, and their intention to go, a lot of people don't even do that. Even if it has to do with a fitting shop, for you to go, if you want to be a mechanical engineer and go to a fitting shop, go there, learn, be a fitter. Right? So year 2, go learn. Just go by yourself. Always volunteer if you're a student. And follow people who are charting the path that you want to go.
So always volunteer and follow people who are charting the path you want to go. So this is the last one, which says, how can I handle being screamed at in the workplace? if you can generalize it to being abused emotionally in your workplace as a new person who is now starting work?
This could be personality. Well, there are people who come to the office without problems. That's why I said that, most of us walk around with challenges within ourselves, and then we try to react when things happen. People can scream at you in the morning and come to you and apologize. Right? It all depends on how you react to small things. So I think that first of all, you don't have to know how to engage people. It comes back to the point where I say you need to prepare people to listen to you. If I come to tell you something and I look at your face, you should communicate to me that you're not even ready for what I'm telling you. Alright? And time is always important. So when I start and then I think that you're not ready, I have to go back, make sure I'm prepared, make sure you're in the right mood frame to be able to listen to me. If it has to be people who just come and shout, I will say this is a business and this is a vehicle that you are going. If it is going to your direction, your way, make sure that you are learning how to tolerate people. Because people are always going through that. And you see, when we help people with their emotional challenges when they come to the organization, then we don't react to them, we help them to deal with this. Over time, they come close to us, they tell us why they're going through those things, and give us the opportunity to help them. Alright, so when you have a boss or a colleague that's always shouting at you, don't scream back. Don't reflect that. Reflect what you want people to see about you. Alright, and I think that will help people to know that you are different from every other person. They will scream at people and then they'll come. You see, when you don't react to them, they will go and do it to somebody else. They come and tell you that people reacted to them. So you can then, when you get close to you, can then help them out of that. Maybe they've gone through some abusive moment that's creating that problem for them.
That's very, very interesting. Very, very profound for me. Wow. Okay, so we are done with the questions. Do you have any last words for the audience?
My last words will be the four steps that I mentioned that takes us to perfection. You want to be perfect, you want to be a great person who has enough experience that will sought after. You go through these four stages. The first is what I call unconscious incompetence. When you don't know something, you don't even know you don't know. So for instance, let me say we are talking about vehicle. We want to learn how to drive, but there is a car in the house. You are there and mostly there's a driver that comes to pick you. You have, let's say, a sister, a son, a daughter who is not well. At midnight you call the driver is not picking up, you're angry. Now, you're angry because the one who will help you is not there. You are not conscious of the fact that you could drive the car, because you know, the moment you think about driving the car, something precedes it. So you are so unconscious that you don't have a certain competence that's supposed to help you to develop that competence, that expertise. The second level that I always say education does is for somebody to come and tell you, but there's a car, why don't you learn how to drive? Alright, so the person is like a teacher to you. The person tells you that this is a car. You can go and learn how to drive. Now you are now conscious of the fact that you didn't know how to drive. Alright, and at that point, like I mentioned, students come out, they don't even know anything about the organization. They only know that they want to pay big. It doesn't work out that way. The first stage is what I call conscious competence. So when you are told that there's a vehicle, so go and learn how to drive. You then start, get a teacher to help you to practice. So that is where you move. So if you are a student, you have learned, you go to first class, but you are at the second stage, conscious incompetence. Now when you move to the organization to apply, then now you are learning. They are telling you, okay, so put this button here, put this here, so you are learning. But you see, like a vehicle, when you learn how to drive, everything around you scares you. You hold a wheel like that, and when the car is coming, you are wondering whether the car is coming to hit you or not. When someone is crossing, you are wondering. So you are conscious, you are competent, but your competency level is not high enough for you to be that person that you will sought after. you must advance to the final stage that you are unconscious competent. Now, that is the level where you are like a driver, and you are driving but you're not even in the car. So like you're someone who's so, and something is on your mind, you are thinking about something but you're still sewing, and you're doing it perfectly. Because you don't need your mind to even help you to do that. So I'm driving, I could drive from Tamale to Kumasi without even thinking I'm in the car. Cars will be coming, I'll navigate, I'll do everything that I need to do, but I'm thinking about somebody. Alright, so because I am so competent, that I am so unconscious, I'm still doing it. Then it gets to perfection. If you want to be somebody who is sought after, make sure you have done something so often and have practiced that you can do it even when you are called at midnight to do it. And it will help you.
So consistency and interpersonal relationships. That's like the summary of most of the discussion we've had today. That's the summary I would take home. So being consistent in a lot of things and everything you do, and then ensuring that you are building your interpersonal relationships with everybody. So thank you very much, Henry, for honoring our invitation and coming to speak on this topic. And thank you for staying with us for the whole time of the discussion. If you have any further questions, you can leave them in the comments. We'll get them together and get them answered for you. Do like the video, subscribe, share, and connect with us on social media through #Career Wednesdays. Thank you and see you next time.